Rebecca, would you please call the roll?
Nolan.
Here.
Ogle.
Here.
Clubb.
Here.
Pacto.
Here.
Kenny Vanderhart.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Scavo.
Here.
Morton.
Here.
Feltner.
Here.
Rogers.
Here.
Boson.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Let's take a look at the agenda for this evening's meeting. If it's agreeable with the board, I would like to move directly for board action, since we have a couple of board members that are going to be leaving early this evening. Could I have a motion for that change?
I'll move.
A second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Let's take a look at the minutes from the previous meeting of February 25th. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, may I have a motion for approval?
I'll move approval.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll move directly for board action. Item A, the Principal River Rock Rules and Fishing Ordinance Amendments. We've received a lot of wonderful input from the public, and I recommend that our board table the proposal to restrict fishing along the Principal River Walk. As a follow-up, staff has recommended that we create an ad hoc committee to further look at and study this action and to make a recommendation back to the board within 90 days. If this meets the approval of the board, I would entertain a motion to table the proposed fishing restrictions and to create the ad hoc committee to review and make a recommendation to the board.
I'd make that motion.
Before we go any further, do these folks that are out here get to speak before we?
Yes.
All right, I'd like to hear their comments before I go any further into voting or anything like that.
We weren't going to vote yet. We were
Okay,
just
Make a motion.
I don't even want to go into the
It's
motion
procedure, we
part.
got to have a motion
We have a
first.
motion
Yep.
first.
Before we hear from them?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't vote, you just have a motion
In a second.
and a second, and then you have a public discussion, and then a board discussion, and then a vote.
I have a question. With that motion and second, individuals will still be allowed to fish until we resolve the situation? correct?
Absolutely. There's no change, would be no rule, as we have today.
Okay.
Did I have a second for that?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
We have to do
Discussion.
discussion.
Just discussion now.
I assume that there are people in the public that would like to make some comments this evening. Could I see a hand of how many are planning to speak?
Maybe appropriate to have staff give a briefing update on the dynamics of what else happened since this was, since our last board meeting when this proposal was received as a receive and file, and what's kind of happened in the last month, the change of dynamic that the recommendation is now the table of the motion.
I'd be glad to. For those that are Ben Page, Director of Parks and Recreation. One of the things that we're very proud about in the city is that we're deliberately slow and transparent when we have a new rule or a fee change when it comes to things that we manage in Parks and Recreation. Those that don't know, we take 2 months at the park board level, and then depending on what the action is, if it's fees, it takes 3 council readings. Ordinance changes take up to 3 council readings as well. So whatever happens at this level is only a recommendation to our city council, who has final authority. So a month ago, we began looking at some rules for our new river walk. This will be the first real season that opens up. It opened late last year before winter got here, and we knew that the river walk would need some great rules to help to maintain a beautiful space that it is. Our team worked with the Downtown Community Alliance, who has a vested interest as well as the city in maintaining that property. We also looked at other communities across the nation that have a river walk that is similar to ours. So we came up with a long list of rules that would help us manage the space and keep it beautiful, as well as protect the citizens that use the space. And over time, between the last month and this month, we were able to find out that our fishing proposal may not be the best one-size-fits-all. We've heard back from many people from the public, as well as the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. And I see there are many out there tonight that I think will want to speak on this as well. And we think that it'd be best to slow it down again. Again, we're in no rush. We would like to slow it down, get some feedback of everybody to see if there is a policy, a decision that can be come to that will allow us to take care of two major issues that we are experiencing on the Riverwalk. We didn't bring this forward just to have a rule. We had problems that we were trying to solve. And as your staff that manages your facilities for Parks and Recreation, we felt that we'd be doing a disservice to our community if we didn't tackle this head-on. So those two issues were safety, so conflict among users and fishers, and it's not a bad conflict, it was just the risk management side of things. When you fish and you arc back, you were able to maybe hurt somebody by that. Also sanitation, which was the bigger issue. I can tell you that sanitation is a large problem we have right now. I can show you pictures. I can show you what we're doing right now. And you also read the paper that the city budget has been reduced. We don't have the resources to have trash cans at every little block on the Riverwalk, nor do we have staff to empty that. And when we have a sanitation issue, it just leads to more problems for our team as well. Raccoons coming down, living in our trash cans, coming out after the staff that cleans those trash cans, et cetera. So since we've had the concerns, we thought that we would work with our board, which is appointed by the city council, to find a solution that fits hopefully everybody's needs. We do not want to ban fishing, nor do we want to have to restrict things that we don't have to restrict. We just want to find a tool that works for everyone. So tonight, working with our chair, we think it's the best policy to slow down again, sit back, form a little task force or ad hoc committee, whatever you'd like to call it, and make a recommendation back to this board that will eventually make its way to our city council.
Paula?
Who do you anticipate members of the committee coming from the park board or?
Absolutely. We haven't had a whole lot of time to develop a committee list, but right now we think it would be a group of, we would talk to groups. For example, it would be at least one or two members from this board. We would have a staff representation. We would have folks hopefully from the DNR who's reached out to us. I think they're interested in participating. And then we talk to some of the other groups that are pro-fishing groups, such as the Central Iowa Anglers or the Isaac Walton League, and bring those folks to a table. It's hard for us just to pick one citizen over another one, so if we work with groups that have the best interests of all parties involved, I think we can come back and present to you a new option that maybe works for more of the general public. And I think it's also important to note that those are interested in hearing this follow-up discussion, should you pass this proposal, is we will have a little sign-up sheet going around that we will grab your information if you want to be kept in the loop. It's very important that you give us that information, email, et cetera, so we can invite you to the next time the board discusses it, so you know what's going on.
I have a question. Maybe 90 days might be too soon. And the reason why I say that is we've had drought years, and so the river is perennially low here the last couple of years. We don't know what holds. Maybe we ought to extend that study and that focus group and possibly go up to 120 days. If we go 90 right now, that takes us to June, I believe, the first part of June or whatever. Maybe we ought to take that up through, say, mid-August, so we have an up-to-date study as to what's going on, and we get a clear picture of what's happening now rather than what's happened in the past.
I certainly can live within those timeframes. I think that if we can get everybody's schedules to line up, I believe that we can do this work in possibly less than 90 days. I think all we need to talk about is what are some of the ways that we can take care of some of the conflict we're seeing as well as sanitation. So I appreciate the extension, but I think we can beat the 120 days.
Kevin, would you just raise your hand? Kevin's going to have the clipboards available because we do want any of you that are interested to be sure and sign your name, your contact information, so that we can be in touch with you and let you know what's happening in advance, and you'll know what's going to be happening next.
So just to kind of clarify that tonight there will be no action on that rule. Nothing will change, and that as soon as we do have a new recommendation, it will come back, and those that choose to be notified on that list, we will notify you. And tonight, there's not much for us to react to other than that, because we don't have a rule to react to.
Maybe we should limit it to speakers only, those that have caught at least a 10-pound fish.
I'd just like to, before people do speak, we certainly don't want to limit anybody's ability to speak, but just maybe see a show of hands of the folks here that support the ability to fish on the Des Moines River within the city of Des Moines and want as few restrictions as possible. Is there anyone here that supports further restrictions on fishing on the Des Moines River within the city of Des Moines?
You raise your hand.
Your mic's not on.
Thank you.
Put your mic on, Dick. Mike.
Question of the crowd also. At our last meeting, we took action on bridges. But, you know, I spent 6 years on DNR's commission, and there's ordinary high water mark restriction, 200 feet and all that good stuff that citizens can, it's like their land. I mean, you could have a wonderful cottage at Okoboji, but if you've got 200 feet in front of your house to the ordinary high water mark, people, one, can walk across there. Number two, if you have a dock in front of your cottage, any lake in Iowa, people can dock at that lake anytime they want to. And so, you know, one concern that I didn't bring up at the last meeting, when, you know, certainly all for the fishing from the bridges, but like my grandmother told me years and years ago, you know, it doesn't hurt to have your head in the sand until you blink. And I think, you know, I'll go back to the Tom Sawyer days. I think we, with this committee, will also have to deal with and try and figure out a way that individuals and kids can shop from the river, can fish from the riverbank. Because legally, I think that is, you know, viable and allowable under Iowa law. So not just the bridges. I mean, how many of you, if you care to, would raise your hand if you fish from the riverbank as opposed to just the bridges? There we go. Okay, that answers my question.
Madam Chairman, I would suggest, what's the time limit going to be on each speaker?
3 minutes.
Okay.
Line up against the wall so you can see everything.
If those of you who are wishing to speak, if you would line up along the wall, please, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. We would like you to give your name and address when you come to the mic. And if as people are speaking, if rather than just repeating comments, if there's new information that you can bring forward, that would be most preferable. Good evening.
My name is Stephen Herbert. I'm a resident of the city of Des Moines, Iowa. I have a valid Iowa fishing license. I fish down here frequently. I presented you people with a paper that reflects the issue of sales tax revenues as generated from sport fishing. My feeling is if you restrict sport fishing, you're going to have an economic impact in this community, which is detrimental overall, and you have to review the economy as a regional area. My background is in fisheries biology. I have participated with the state of Alaska. I would suggest to you folks that you contact the city of Homer, Alaska, who had specifically the same problem with fish waste issues, and that's one of your major problems, is the issue of fish waste and how they did that, because it's in conjunction with the state and it's in conjunction with the municipality. And it's my feeling that what you want is to enhance the recreational opportunities of the city of Des Moines. You want sales tax generated, you want peace and calm and all that sort of stuff like that. Now, there's only a few things that I care to address here. One is one gentleman up here. This is the largest fish that we know that's been taken down here. This gentleman here, Clyde John, this is a 70-pound flathead catfish. Okay? This was taken with a sport fish thing in the region that the map delineates. Okay, where's Sid? Sid's up there, he's got his walleye. It's a trophy walleye. This fish here would be considered a trophy in New York State, Wisconsin, Canada, this, that, and the other thing. Here's that fish. That's what that looks like. That's a trophy fish anywhere. Clyde's fish is a trophy fish anywhere. Okay? These fish, this happened to me, okay, these are 4-to-1 fish. On the last page of, or about the next to the last page, there's a discussion of what a 4-to-1 fish is, and it relates to how you compare fish. So a 4-to-1 flathead is comparable to a 4-to-1 mako shark, or a 4-to-1 tarpon, or a 4-to-1 smallmouth, or a 4-to-1 anywhere. Okay? This is out of the realm of that, but I just wanted to bring that up, that sport fisheries are a national concern besides a sport concern, or a state concern and a municipal concern. We are all concerned with the understanding that a sports fisherman is considered one who is angling with a valid sport fishing license in their possession or otherwise allowed by the state. So if somebody down there is angling but does not have a sport fishing license in their possession, they are committing a crime.
Stephen, could you wind up your comments, please?
Pardon?
Could you
Yes,
wind
and
up?
that's fine. Okay, next.
Thank you.
I would like to say I retired from the Des Moines Water Works, and it happened because I was hit by a drunk driver on the job.
Could you state your name and address?
My name is Sidney Simpson,
Thank you.
and I'm a local fisherman here. Been fishing there for 31 years, and fishing was prescribed to me by my doctor for post-traumatic stress disorder. And what I would like to say that is I know that there's a lot of stress in the city of Des Moines right now, and fishing would help to alleviate some of that. So we should try to create more places to fish than try to take away places to fish.
Thank you, Stephen. Sydney, sorry.
Andrew Lohr, 6018 Southwest 5th. First off, I have 3 little girls, ages 5 to 11. They love going fishing down there. They like rolling down the grass hills. They like to watch the colorful bridge. All these people, they talk to them, and it's good people down there. I would like to continue to raise my kids on the Des Moines River banks, like I was. There is a problem with trash, sometimes perhaps riffraff, but taking the fishermen out, we're actually helping the problem there, keeping the riffraff out. Many of us, I've witnessed many of these people pick up trash off the bank and throw it in one of the trash cans that are there. We're kind of attacking the wrong group per se, and just don't take it away from us. I can understand the bike trail maybe, but the rest of it, it's all some of us, it's all we have. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. I'm Mark Bungie. I live 8880 Primrose Lane over in Clive. Basically, I've been fishing around there for years. I also bike, 1,000 miles a year, easily. And you got to be a pretty bad biker to get hit by a fisherman. I mean, you've got to be just absolutely horrible at it. With that in mind, I'm mostly concerned about the safety. If you do ban it there, what are we going to do? We're going to put on our waders and we're going to go in the water. I mean, so all of a sudden you may be looking at a situation where we have kids drowning. I mean, nobody wants that. I know I waded in there down below Scott Street probably 2-3 times actually with Andy last year. So, and that's my concern, is that all of a sudden you'll have a lot of people wading in the water, which is a real danger. And I don't think you guys even would be able to legislate that away, because I think that's probably covered under the state of Iowa. So this may be, all of a sudden you're forcing people to go downtown to where the fish are, and we're going to go in the water, and then you're going to have little kids drowning. So, you guys want that? I don't think so.
Thank you, Mark.
My name's Tom Mulhern. I live at 2120 Evergreen Avenue. I've been fishing down there since about 1975, down at Center Street and Scott Street. And I've noticed through the years, in fact myself and quite a few others, have gone down there after certain groups have been down there and found empty food containers, half-eaten food by kids. I've seen them throw it on the ground 20 feet away as a trash can. And then they don't have any idea of what keeping the ground clean means. And I can't see taking away both sides of the river myself. Because I'm handicapped, I can't be walking, 12 miles to find a fishing hole. And that's one of the places that I've enjoyed fishing at. I've never had any problem whatsoever. At night, during the day, nothing. And cutting off part of the bike trail, yes, I can see, because there are people who fish beyond that area where the bike trail ends, as it's coming down that hill on the west side. Well, I can see stop fishing from a certain distance away from that where the bike trail comes down and meets the sidewalk. I can see cutting off part of that to keep fishermen from, when they cast, that line's going to be behind them. Who knows, they may catch one coming down the hill. That's why just shortening that area where the fishermen can fish from, that would be fine. But taking away both sides, that's just not right.
Thank you, Tom.
Good afternoon. My name is Frank L. Gustafson. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for this opportunity to listen to me, to speak to you about this important question before us. I am a lifelong resident of the city of West Des Moines and have been fishing these fertile waters of the Des Moines River system that flow through the downtown business district of Des Moines for about 35 years of my 6 years of life. I spend much time downtown, different events such as restaurants, bazaars, concerts, runs, farmers markets, and fishing. Now, concerning the proposed amendment relating to the no fishing locations along the Des Moines River from University Avenue downstream to Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway Bridge. I am shocked, dismayed, and somewhat offended by the statement from Jen Fletcher of the Des Moines Parks and Recreation Department proclaiming, "We are trying to protect the people who are using the Riverwalk. Pedestrians, bikers, walkers, things like that. It's just a safety reason." Safety reason? I'm slow, but I'm not stupid. And if this is a safety issue, if this is a safety issue concerning this council or any other civic-minded council, I would like an explanation of how fishing the downtown area of the Des Moines River is any threat to any other people using the self-same area. The only misuse of this fantastic opportunity to harvest this cornucopia of fresh and wholesome fish from this area, and I believe this area to be the most fertile stretch of the Des Moines River from the Fraser Dam to the muddy Mississippi, is the fact that some people are litter bugs, a most disgusting habit of many, many people, other than and including some fisher people. Many people patrol the streets and walkways of downtown Des Moines daily, picking up trash. It's not the best investment of our tax dollars, nonetheless a necessary and effective one. Perhaps expanding the picking up of litter area to include heavily fished areas may be part of the answer to the litter problem. A few years back, 2 trash cans were placed beside the east side of the river between Center Street Dam and Grand Avenue Bridge. Sadly, These 2 trash cans are only emptied maybe twice a season. They become full and overflow with trash and still not empty. A small input of labor by whoever is responsible for policing the area and more diligence on the part of all citizens who use this beautiful area of downtown Des Moines, whether it be pedestrians and bikers, walkers, things like that, and fisher people, can and will make a difference. Perhaps putting up signs such as no littering, that's number 1. Number 2, all fish not intended for human consumption must be returned to the river immediately.
Frank, could you wind up your comments, please?
Beg pardon?
Could you wind up your comments, please?
Yes, okay. And number 3, I strongly advise this. Make a law, no casting nets allowed. Casting nets are for harvesting bait fish, and in my opinion, that is the culprit of the litter problem. I thank you. Due to time restraints, I'm able to ask you many of these questions, et cetera, et cetera. I do thank you very much for taking this time to listen to me.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You said not fit for consumption, human consumption fish, throw them back in, but isn't it illegal to throw certain species back?
It's my opinion that used to be a policy years and years ago, but that it used to be throw the carp on the bank when I was a boy. But I don't believe that is the law now.
So you guys are all telling me you can throw all those fish back in?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
George, we got a member of the DNR coming up here. He'll be able to answer that for
Oh,
us.
okay, all right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank.
Hi, my name is Robert Moore. I live in Johnston, Iowa. This group probably represents 5% of the people that fish at that bank. I can't say I fish down there anymore, but I grew up a good portion of my 29, 30 years of living on this earth down at that riverbank, and being a new father, it means a lot to me. There's a lot of history there, and I consider the state extremely resourceful, and this being an extremely resourceful panel, the river is also resourceful. To touch on Mr. Thornton's comment earlier, it's not only the banks, it's also the bridges. A lot of us fish off of both. So it's kind of a tough question to ask us, but we do fish off of both. I'd like my son to be able to enjoy those same memories I had. I understand your concerns with safety and making sure the area is clean and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, I think you have a group, a small percentage of people that represent a larger percentage of people that can implement, that can enforce these rules that you guys are trying to roll out, because we do support keeping those banks clean. So I think it's a smaller issue than face value if we work together instead of against each other. So that's it.
Thank you, Robert.
Ben Dodd, 2315 Park Avenue, Granger, Iowa. Just to address your question real quick, that's a pretty common misconception among our anglers that you're required to remove rough fish if they're caught, and that's not true. You can return them without penalty.
Hey, Ben, for the audiences, would you tell them what your title is too, and where you work?
Yes, I'm a fisheries biologist with the Iowa Department of Natural Resources, and I'm here to, on behalf of our Conservation and Rec Division, and also on behalf of the anglers, which has a great showing tonight. I guess I'd like to start by thanking you guys for further reviewing the proposed fishing ordinance and allowing an ad hoc committee to help resolve the issues. The Iowa DNR represents multiple interest groups and who will no doubt assist with the task at hand, evident by the crew that's here tonight. We're committed, and we really look forward to collaborating with the city and other stakeholder groups to try and address these issues along the principal Riverwalk. And before I sit down, I just wanted to share a couple of things. One of my fellow employees has a book. It's called Beginnings, Reminiscences of Early Des Moines. And there's an article in here that I'd like to share with you that is from an angler who fished here in the late 1800s. And it really shows how strong the fishing culture here is in downtown Des Moines. And the last thing I wanted to present is a newspaper article from the Charles City Press and some photos that illustrate a project that they completed on the Cedar River that provides multi-use recreation for their community. So feel free to pass those around, and that's all I have. Thanks for your time.
Ben, thank you for being here, and thank you for offering your assistance in helping us with this project.
I want to thank him also because Chuck Gipp, who's the head of DNR, is a super guy and a great boss, and he's got great people working for him. Sent a great letter to us about this situation, and thank him. I've tried to get hold of him twice today, but he's probably out trying to resurrect the pheasants. But you've got a great staff, and I was on DNR, and Chuck Gipp is a super person.
Thank you. I'll communicate your message.
Thank you.
Hey, these trophy fish, are they caught from the bank or the bridge? I would assume the bank. Really?
Yes.
Good evening. Rick Serwick, 3807 Southwest 2nd Street, Des Moines, Iowa. I'm here representing the Des Moines Isaac Walton League. I'm the president. And I would like to start off by offering our services to help with a solution and be part of that committee or a group. Also, I wanted to let you know that not only are we fishermen in the Isaac Walton League, but we're conservationists. And we've done a lot of work on the Des Moines and the Raccoon River, such as the R2G2, picking up all the trash. It just doesn't collect down there in the one location. It's everywhere up and down the river. And also, we do a program where we take rough fish out of Graves Lake. It's our carp festival. And all the carp are recycled through the SOAR program. We feed the eagles that are injured. Also, we do a lot of work with the Expo group. We have over 60 activities in the Waterworks Park, where in the fall families can come and experience fishing, how to shoot a bow, trap shooting, everything. It's a great opportunity, and we would hate to see the access to the urban folks that come to that event shrunk down to where they don't have access to the metro area to fish, when a lot of times it's within walking distance for them. So with that, I'd just like to offer up our services, and you can get a hold of me anytime. Thank you.
Kevin, would you get his information?
Rick, thank you. Thank you for the offer, too.
Michael Woodard, 601 Southwest 62nd Street, Des Moines. I am an angler as well as a conservationist, and I think many of these people are. Anglers actually do help try to clean and maintain the area. There are a lot of people down on the river that are neither cyclists or anglers, and they do cause a lot of harm to the area. There has been concerns about drug use, things that are found down there, the feces and the food and the syringes, and we don't like that stuff any more than anybody else does. We also want that gone. The solution is not by running off the fishermen. It's to patrol it or to make everyone aware of the situation so that we can all work together to correct it. We feel that we're being penalized by not being able to use our resources. I spoke with the DNR today and got some statistics and numbers. Last year, the revenue generated from fishing license sales was $7.6 million. I have that figure here, and you can have this. The revenue generated from bicycle licensing was nothing. We don't charge for bicycle licensing. So I feel that the people that are actually paying to use our resources aren't being allowed, but the people that don't pay to use those resources are. Now, I also cycle, and I enjoy riding my bicycle. And I enjoy using our beautiful trails. We have really nice trails. But we can find a way to work together without making it, causing restrictions and taking away people's liberties to use the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
There, we get a quick picture on here. Hi, I'm Amy Lego with Operation Downtown. We help to maintain the Riverwalk, and we do appreciate the idea of going back and analyzing this potential ordinance change and looking at what other possible solutions might be there. But we do want to point out, we do have a sanitation issue that needs to be addressed. As it is now is unsightly, to say the least. Our Riverwalk is really a great amenity for downtown Des Moines, and we've seen a lot of use just since the fall. And some of these pictures are from this last season. And what we don't want is we don't want downtown visitors to remember the Riverwalk for being smelly or polluted. We don't want downtown park users or trail users to start avoiding the Riverwalk. So again, we're looking forward to working with this ad hoc committee and hopefully finding a solution that will both allow for fishing on the river, but still addressing the sanitation issues that we have today. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Rob Griffith, 5310 160th Street, Urbandale. First concern when this was brought to my attention was just a deliberate attack on fishermen. I don't know an activity that brings more people of different races, ages, gender together, and I recognize a lot of these guys out here, and we all get along. We help each other net our fish when we hook up. We fish next to each other, share stories, pastimes, and to say that we're the problem is mind-blowing. The other thing that is of deep concern is the idea of taking away more public access. When if I'm correct, Iowa is one of the worst states as far as percentage of public access for sportsmen. And then you want to take away more. That's just unreal to me. I work downtown. I see guys out there all the time. The litter is a big issue. I usually pick up everything I see when I always carry a bucket with me and throw everything in there. But the bottom line is, if you're going to restrict fishing there, you got to enforce it. Why not just enforce the laws that are already there? Littering's illegal. Enforce it. Patrol the area. Put some signs up, as was mentioned. Make it aware. And it's always going to be an issue. There's always going to be someone who's sloppy and doesn't pick up after themselves, and it's a shame. But to single out one group is just unfair, and it doesn't make sense, and it's not going to improve the situation. It's still going to be an issue one way or another. So.
Thank you, Rob.
My name is Charles Piggott. I live at 2325 East 12th. And I've heard some of these guys say they fished down here for 25, 30 years. I fished here for 60 years on this river from University to Scott Street. And you know what's happened up north? You can't fish. The best place to fish is the dam down here that we're talking about doing away with. Several years ago, when Mr. Mahaffey was voted onto the city council, I called him about putting some barrels along the riverbank. We got 2, and you can go down there most of the time, and they're practically all full and running over. That's not the fisherman's fault. What are they going to do? Take these barrels out? Now, I know there's city employees around here, and we're cutting back on everything, but there's city employees that have got 10 minutes of a day or week to empty those barrels. Now, we talked about a high water mark. You know where the high water mark is? Right here. This building is surrounded by the high water mark. I could legally fish in the middle of that parking lot out there. Am I correct? Have we all seen water out there? We all seen water out here on First Street? That's the high water mark that the DNR and the state of Iowa says you can legally fish. Now, I can't cast my pole from the middle of the parking lot to the river. I can just about get there, but I can't quite make it. And I don't believe any of these other guys can either. So let's not talk about doing away with what we've got. Fishermen, we need to police ourselves, but we need something down there that we can police ourselves with. Now, 2 barrels, one up here at the dam, one at Grand Avenue, That's not enough. We need at least 3 more, at least 3 more scattered along that riverbank, you know. Now, my kids, which I have 4, I have a very avid fisherman. She's standing right back here. She'll fish with me night and day, and we have contests who can catch the biggest fish down here. And we've caught carp in excess of 10 pounds. We've caught carp where other fishermen had to bring a net down to help us get it up over the wall. And believe me, these guys out here, they'll come help you. You know, I talk about Scott Street. I got a joke that when my son-in-law and my daughter fish next to me, they like to Scott Street me by throwing their lines over the top of me, you know, and that happens all the time. Right? That's right. That happens all the time. And you don't see anybody getting thrown off the wall. You don't see any fights, arguments, nothing like that. These guys are all friends, talk to one another. We do the whole 9 yards down there, and there's not a one of us that wouldn't help clean up the area if we had someplace to put it.
Charles, could you wind up your remarks?
Okay, I've got grandkids fish down here, and I'm starting on my great-grandkids to fish down here. We can't jump in the car and go to Clear Lake every day or go wherever, whatever, but I'm 5 minutes from the river. I could about walk if I could, you know. So don't do away with that, whatever you do. But remember where the high water mark is. And you heard the DNR man say where the high water was. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
Hard to follow that act. My name's Darren Knighty. I live at Highland Park, right off the Des Moines River up there, up close to the old Riverview Park, and which I'd like to see revitalized. That's a different story. I'm also the founder of Central Iowa Anglers. You mentioned this earlier. We've worked closely with Ben Dowd with DNR. We've worked with the Des Moines Isaac Walton League and the Ankeny Isaac Walton League. There's not too much I can say that hasn't already been said. One thing I will say is I'm willing to offer support for the ad hoc committee. I'm more than happy. I'm on the Big Creek Watershed Committee, so I'm trying to clean up the waters. One thing, as a scoutmaster, I've tried to teach my boys, one of the important things to take with you fishing is a grocery bag, so you can fill it with garbage, take it with you. But fishermen leave mess. I've been run off bike trail by bikers. We ban all bikers? No. So again, I'm not going to say any more, but just offer my assistance if you would like it.
Thank you for your offer. Thank you.
My name is Shelley Iverson. I live at 3215 210th Street, Thayer, Iowa. And I drive over 75 miles to fish one place on the Des Moines River, and that's the Center Street Dam. That's the only place we can have our contests on the biggest carp. And you know, last year was the first time that we have had to throw one back into the river. There, two or 3 years ago, there was a little guy that came, and he knew when my truck pulled up and my dad's truck pulled up that he was going home with a 5-gallon bucket of carp. He knew he was taking dinner home. And he would make stuff up. I don't eat fish. I just like to go fishing. He would bring it back, stuff made up for everybody to eat that he'd made out of this carp. And I'm like, no, dude, I don't eat fish. But it's a pastime. I've done it for over 40 years. And like my dad said, he's got his great-grandkids. They come down and play with us while we do it now. And I'm making him stick around until one of them's big enough to throw a river pole in so we can have a 4-generation picture of carping at the Center Street Dam. So please don't take it away from us. The worst thing that's ever happened there, and I wasn't even around when it happened, my dad went over the wall, lost his billfold. That's the worst thing in all those years of fishing that has ever happened. There's never mean words. It's like we're all family. You know, we all know what we're down there doing, and everybody gets along. There's never, and ain't nobody ever in a bad mood. If you want to see a bunch of people in a good mood, come on down to the Center Street Dam. Don't take it away from us, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley.
My name is Darrell Lawrence. I'm a citizen of Des Moines, Iowa. I live at 4110 Brooks Drive. I have worked for the city of Des Moines in the Parks Commission about 11 years out of the last 13 when I haven't been to Alaska. I've worked in the park system. I have worked at Union Park, the North Zone. I've worked for Julie mowing bike paths. I've worked downtown. I've worked all over the city of Des Moines in the last 11 years as a 4-month person, a part-time person, okay? This is not a fisherman issue. You don't have anything to do with these fellows. This is a trash issue and a smell issue. Every park in this city on a Monday morning is full of trash. You go to any parking lot in this city, doesn't matter where you're at, the North Zone, South Zone, doesn't matter. You'll find garbage everywhere, okay? Cans littered with garbage, picnic tables not cleaned off from the party they just had that night. Okay? This is everywhere in the city. You take the bike paths. We're so proud of our bike paths, okay? Every dime of our bike paths is paid for by taxpayers' dollars. Bikers do not pay 1 cent to ride their bike up and down these trails. The joggers pay 1 cent to jog up and down these trails. The only people that actually pay a dime for recreation on the river are these people you have here who fish, okay? You think you have a trash problem, you have a manpower problem. The Park and Rec Commission, when I started working for them 11 years ago, every park had 4 people who took care of the garbage. Every park, we had 4 zones, north, east, south, and west. Each zone had 4 full, 3 7-monthers and 1 4-monther like me that took, all we did was trash. We cleaned bathrooms and picked up trash. Now we're down to maybe 2 people picking up trash for this whole city. Now think of this. Mike Galls has 2 people that pick up trash for the whole city of Des Moines, for every park, okay? We used to have 16 people picking up trash full-time, 7 days a week for this city, okay? Now, Julie has 2 people, 1 7-monther and 1 4-monther, mowing the complete bike system. Our bike paths, we have, I don't know how many miles we actually have. We have 2 people mowing and maintaining those trails. Every day when you mow that trail, every time you mow a trail, you stop and pick up trash. I'll have a 5-gallon bucket of trash on one route, just off of one trail, okay? If we're going to use this criteria, let's ban the bikers. Let's ban the bikers from the trail because some of them throw trash out. Let's ban the people from the parks because some of those people just don't pick up their litter. It's not a fisherman problem, it's a litter problem. And you folks are taking it up on the guys who actually fish. I mean, if you want to take care of the problem, spend a few dollars, let Julie hire some people, or let Mike Gall hire some people to put cans on the parks or bike paths and patrol them every day. When I ran the North Zone, every park in the North Zone, Drake, Union, Prospect, Cheatham, I visited those parks at least 4 times in my 8-hour shift. I would go through 4 times a day in my truck, picking up trash, picking up garbage, and keeping the parks policed. Right today, it's impossible with the cut the city of Des Moines has made on the people that they have in the park system to maintain it. You can't do it. You cannot blame one person for the trash problem.
Darrell, could you wind up your remarks, please?
Pardon?
Could you wind up your remarks? Your time is about up.
Well, the whole problem is you people are looking at the wrong problem. The wrong problem is you don't have enough people to maintain what you got. So you cannot ban fishermen from fishing. If you can do that, you should ban the people from using your park to go to have a picnic. Let's ban the people off the bike path. It's a trash problem, a manpower problem. It's not a fisherman problem. And that's the truth of the story.
Thank you, Darrell.
Hi, my name's Greg Beckett. I grew up on the east side. I now live over in Norwoodville. I'm one of those occasional fishermen that get down to I fish all over, don't get me wrong. I'm an occasional fisherman downtown. The idea that taxpayers are funding all this and supporting it, and now we're turning around and we're taking part of the activity away from them, that's not right. A lot of us supported having everything being built up downtown and supported that idea. Now that we've supported it, you're telling us we can't use it. That's not right. My first memory of fishing is right down there by Center Street on the side of the wall, or this side of the Center Street on the wall. That's my first remember fishing myself. I can remember fishing with my dad off the bridge, but those walls were where he took me fishing. Granted, that's been 60-something years ago, but it shouldn't change. It's an activity for the family, for the community. We're all taxpayers, whether we're bikers or whatever we are. Taxpayers paid for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Hi, my name is Jim Carlson. I live at 1218 68th Street in the city of Windsor Heights. There are a lot of public walkways and bike trails in the city of Des Moines, and there are very limited places to fish. There are several city employees all over downtown cleaning up the city after the day of bar goers in the early morning hours. There are nobody down by the river. Is there any incidents where fishermen or women have hurt any bypassers, walkers, joggers in recent history, any time? Well, over the years, I've heard of several bar goers, where there's been incidents. I have a house in Okoboji, and sometimes of the year, fishing is a lot better, excellent fishing here than in Lake Okoboji, or I'd say any place else in the state of Iowa. Please don't take this fishing away, and thank you for our time.
Thank you, Jim.
My name is Shannon Iverson. I live at 2325 East 12th. I like to think of myself as a good mom. I like to think that I protect my child the best that I can. If I thought for any second that she was in danger being down by the river with any of the fishermen, the hooks flying around, or anything, she wouldn't be down there. Also, to add, I heard on the news it was to protect the safety of the people walking on the bridge. If you've ever been down there, the bridge is so far away from where we fish. Most of those people don't walk down. There's not a trail on the east side. It's just fishermen. The people that are up on the bridge are not concerned with what's going on where we're fishing. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
My name is Mike Foreman, 6496 Highway 65, Indianola, Iowa. Part of this conversation has mainly been proposed on litter. And with the Parks and Recs being shorthanded, you have people that have been sentenced to community service. And why not try to take advantage of those people to help with the Parks and Rec and trying to clean up, follow up behind trash cans. More of them need to be available. That, again, you mentioned that the coons are getting into a preventive type can, keep the coons out of it, okay, for the litter and, any disposed fish or whatever. So, again, Ben and I had a long conversation on the phone, and you barely touched on the liability, but I know that there's a lot of other liabilities that the city could be looking at if they push this through. okay? And, you know, again, with your willing to table this, okay, at this time, I would like to make a friendly amendment to extend it for a year and do a study on, the litter and how people are going to cooperate with each other. Your bike trail, I don't know what the measurements are from, the proposed bridge to the trail itself, and if that's ever been done to get, to determine if the fisherman is casting, is his bait actually in the way of a pedestrian, okay, that would be walking through there, or a bicyclist at the same time. So I want to include that in this, okay, that you should have a study of what the distances are. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
My name is Mike Gustafson, 516 13th Street, West Des Moines. Hello, George.
Oh, buddy.
Man. I wasn't going to say anything, but the more I listen, everybody in this room's got a right to fish that bank. I'm in the beer business, and I'm downtown in the morning hour, your East Village area. All I see is people with yellow jackets on, picking up. If I had a nickel for every cigarette butt that they picked up, and trash, they're patrolling these areas. Yeah, there's a litter problem down there. But like I said, there's only two. I see them come on the Center Street side because they can park their car there. The other barrel on the other side, they got to walk down there. And I've seen that barrel over full, To me, it's a simple problem. Patrol that area 1/10 the amount that you do downtown. And as far as safety reasons, I've never heard of any assaults down there, public urination, drunkenness, all the problems that downtown has, and you guys continue to address those issues instead of coming out saying we're going to put a ban to this. We want to keep the right to fish that riverbank, and I think it can be easily resolved by more receptacles and more, and people here in this room's got cell phones. If there's a problem, they can call a number and have someone come down and address it. But the litter problem can be solved, and as far as safety goes, I don't see no safety issue. Unless somebody's walking on the bank and they're casting, I watch out that I don't get a hook in my ear, just like I watch out that a jogger or a biker won't run into me. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Good evening. My name is Jesse Dixon, and I live on the east side of Des Moines, 1338 East 9th Street. I fished the Des Moines River for over 50 years, and especially the Center Street Dam area. I don't know if you know this, but that's a pretty unique spot to fish. You've got the dam there, the spillway, and you can fish the spillway, and you can fish all the way down to Grand Avenue in front of that dam on both sides of the river. It's a real unique opportunity. You don't have riprap to walk up and down like you do at many other places. And I don't know if you've ever tried to walk up and down that riprap, but it's pretty dangerous. I don't even do it anymore because I'm just too old and too afraid. But denying access to us fishermen, I think, is a very wrong thing to do. Number one, we're taxpayers, we buy licenses, and we contribute. One instance I can remember several years ago, we were down there fishing. A boat came down by the dam. A lot of boaters like to come near the dam. I guess it's exciting for them. There was a gentleman on the back of the boat, and when the boat took off, he fell off the back of the boat went over the dam into the river, and everybody thought he was going to drown. But one of the fishermen, a friend of mine, went up, got in his car. He'd just come from playing badminton in a park. They had a big picnic. It's one of the holidays. He drove all the way down to the Grand Avenue Bridge, borrowed a chair from another fisherman, a lawn chair, tied a rope onto it, threw the rope over, and pulled that man out of the water. He probably would have drowned if it wasn't for that fisherman. So, I'm not saying that we're all lifesavers, but we're not down there harming anybody. We're down there fishing, having a good time, and I don't see any conflict. People walk down there, people bike down there, and I don't see why we can't all use that river. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. I would like to thank all the public for coming here tonight. We've had some wonderful, interesting stories. We really appreciate it. Appreciate your time, coming to share your thoughts with us and give us some great ideas. I hope you all have taken the opportunity to sign the sign-up sheet so we can be in touch with you, and we certainly will be in touch with you. So thank you for your attention tonight and your comments. I'd like to throw it back to the board if the board has any comments.
I have a couple comments I'd like to state. And I got to give Board Member Scavo credit for this idea. You know, we have a pretty successful dog park situations because based on volunteers and stuff. Maybe we need to look at volunteer, because it seems like trash is the issue as we move forward. Trash more than anything else, more than people getting stuck with a hook. Maybe we can get a committee of fishermen or bikers, if you will, or whatever, and enhance that volunteer group to maybe pick up that area and move forward that way. I think if trash is taken out of the picture on this thing, I think a lot of this problem may go away. So that's something that I think that the fishermen as a group, and by the way, every one of you guys, what a great public meeting and what a great public you are. You're no anger. There was just very explicit facts. I thought it was very good all the way. But I think maybe that's something that we can look at. And maybe, I've heard a couple ideas that, for example, expanding this study to a year, to give it a year rather than 90 days, and see with trash being the enemy, if we were to ad hoc that or however we could do that, maybe that makes improvement in the area and keeps even the Downtown Alliance, so they're happy. Maybe that's the compromise. That's all I wanted to state at this time.
I just follow with a few comments. One, I think on behalf of Board 2, we really appreciate your presence and your input today, and I think it's safe to say that your presence is going to make a big difference in the final product that comes out of this. And for me as a board member, any ordinance that comes forward is going to have to, one, recognize that fishing is a cultural plus for this city, and it enhances quality of life here, and that's something that needs to be preserved, recognized as a valuable resource and activity that our citizens should have access to within the city of Des Moines. In addition, it would be nice to see if out of this that we can also look at ways to perhaps water quality and things that can be done to perhaps enhance the fishing experience that we do have. And I don't know if that's something that can be looked at as part of this process as well. But again, I think the motion now is to table for a period of 90 days for everyone to get together and come back and see if there's a proposal that can accomplish the concerns of the Downtown Alliance and the new Riverwalk system, which is new. So we got some new uses and bring some people in contact that maybe weren't as much before. But I really appreciate the comments, and there wasn't much I heard today that I would disagree with or take issue with. So again, I'm confident that, or I'm very hopeful that through this process, we'll come up with someone that's workable and that you all can be pleased with as well. But I think it was heard loud and clear that, fishing isn't something that we should consider taking away, and that we need to accommodate the fishing in our city and recognize it as an important offering here, and keep it available for all.
Lloyd, I don't believe the motion was to only be 90 days for tabling the restriction. We were looking at tabling the restriction and maybe coming back with recommendations in 90 days. So maybe that's the part that we want to extend that period of time. Paula?
I would like to suggest that on that committee, we also add downtown residents. Because as I said last month, the river is my front yard, and Court Avenue is kind of my backyard, so I'm right on the river. I've lived there for 10 years. I have never seen one problem resulting from a fisher person. In fact, I enjoy, some of you might recognize me because I walk there a lot with my dogs, and I always ask you how you're doing and how you're catching, and I appreciate having you down there. I think that's an area, it's my downtown park, if you will, and I think it's an area that we should all share, and that we should figure out a way, all of us, to pick up water bottles. As a biker, I know we consume a lot of water and always have bottles around. Food wrappings. Court Avenue, there are all kinds of debris after every weekend, which is fine. People go down there to party and have a good time, but we all have to figure out a way to pick up the many kinds of trash. And I will also say, having 2 dogs that I walk all the time, dog poo is another problem. And I don't think I have been on the park board and the Downtown Community Alliance, again, to put up trash bags, to put up receptacles, and to have people pick up. We have no signage, and yet there's been a hesitancy to do that. And so what I hear loud and clear is we all have a problem cleaning up the area. We all have to work together to do that, and it's going to involve more garbage cans and more signage and more education of each other. And in some cities, what they build is a cooperative effort so that people remind each other. If you walk your dog, pick up. If you fish, pick up. So that's what I would like to see come out of this, and I appreciate all of you showing up and speaking.
Vince?
And do we legally have a right to ban anybody from a waterway as a city, or does the state law override that?
Well, basically what the state law says is that the Des Moines River the water is under the control of the state. It's the water of the state. Cities are allowed to have ordinances or restrictions on use of it that aren't inconsistent with the state law.
All right, and who owns the levee system? Is that federal or is that city? Do we have to bring
The levies?
the Army Corps of Engineer into this?
There are Army Corps of Engineer restrictions on construction of those and uses of those. Basically, the banks to the ordinary high water mark are city property along the river. And my understanding from the engineering department is that where the balustrades are, the ordinary high water mark is to the river side on both sides. So the banks to the balustrades are part of city property.
Okay. George, what part of it? The balustrades?
What was that, Ann? I couldn't hear you very well. The battle or the what?
Where the the concrete balustrades on both sides of the river. The city, the ordinary high water mark is to the river side, to the east or west of that, depending on which side you're on. So city property that is not part of the Des Moines River is at least to where the balustrades are. And in some cases, beyond that, just depending on where those maps show.
Okay.
I believe we have a motion on the floor.
Call the motion, please.
Rebecca, would you read the motion? No? I think, Lloyd, you made the motion to begin with.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, the motion is to table the proposal to recommend a change in the ordinance regarding fishing along the
I'd say just look at alternatives, because one of the alternatives might not be an ordinance. It might be a volunteer program, as you know, mentioned, or it could be a lot of things. So let this committee get together, form the ad hoc committee, ask staff to go back, and within 90 days, bring back an alternate recommendation.
Okay.
The,
Motion.
Could I comment on that for a second? I think that there shouldn't be a time limit. I understand that everybody wants to get this done as soon as they can, and every effort will be made. But I think there were some valid comments about 90 days isn't very long, especially with summer coming on and people are busy. I think we don't have to have a specific time limit.
Sure.
I'm fine if the second will accept the motion with no restriction on when they come back with alternative recommendations.
So everything that's in place now, what I'm hearing you propose is everything that's in place now remains in place.
Yeah, there'd be no changes in anything. At some point, the motion would be the city would come back after, we've had our working group come back, that at some point the city would come back with, city staff would come back with a different recommendation.
No changes in anything? I mean, from what we...
Specific to fishing, I think.
Specific to fishing.
And that would also, no changes like, say, at Gray's Lake, dock, anything specific to fishing would have no. But I mean, moving forward, the things that do fly are, if you will, are like, I think there were dog restrictions, leash restrictions, and things like that.
That's going to come up next on your agenda.
That's not
Okay,
the fishing
okay,
ordinance.
okay.
This is just the fishing.
Okay.
What about fishing from the banks?
You can fish from the banks after today if you pass your motion.
Okay.
And what
You
about,
can.
what are we going to do
Now-
with Gray's Lake? Is that going to be?
I'd rather
pushed off
handle,
again?
my staff recommendation is to handle it all at once. I don't want to try to piecemeal this together for you here and get confusion with our audience here.
Okay.
If that's okay with the board.
Same,
Yeah.
throw it all into one,
We'll look at the areas that we manage as parks and recreation and our
Okay.
authority we have, and we'll bring it all back to you in one nice package. That's all
Yeah.
right?
I think we can live with that.
Are we clear with the motion? Okay. And we have a second?
Second?
We have a second. Rebecca, would you call the roll?
Nolan.
Yes?
Ogle.
Yes.
Club.
Yes.
Acto.
Yes.
Kenny Vanderhaar.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Scavo.
yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
Beltner.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Thank you. We have a unanimous vote.
These banks.
Thank you again all for coming this evening.
Thank you, guys. Can we hold off a minute till?
Yes?
Thank you.
This is an ad hoc.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Oh. As we need to.
Good night.
Well, thank you, and I hope you'll volunteer to be on the committee. I wish you would.
I didn't do that. I mean, I don't know anything about the fishing.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate it.
You know, and I understand that. That's not my bailiwick. I didn't have anything to do with that.
But you know, I have never seen, first of all, you're quite a ways. If you're on the bank, I mean, I fish. I've never seen you there. Never.
And he's worth right here, right up,
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
I mean, listen.
Yeah, the process needs to be better explained. It was stopped before it was even being released. But they were heard. They were heard. And, yeah. And if they didn't have to do this,
They're limited by contract. All right, back to the meeting. Grab the other tall guy back there, he'll grab you. Ron?
The other guy back there with the very short hair standing up.
One of the two.
Take Kevin, 'cause Ron's up next, yeah.
Keep going. The guy in the sport coat.
They have some questions for you, Ron.
Whose harebrained idea it was to put that walk down there right against the wall down around Center Street Dam?
I'll tell you what, that's another good conversation we'll have to have offline with you, because we're on TV right now, we have an agenda to get through. So if you want to leave your information with Kevin, we'll gladly give you a call back tomorrow, if that's all right?
Okay.
Or even Kevin can tell you about the Riverwalk outside if you'd like, Kevin.
While we're still on this, and we're talking about the ad hoc committee, is there anyone I'm hearing from the board that would like to be part of that committee?
I would, Susan, but I don't know about time constrictions.
Okay.
Susan, I'd also like to make sure that somebody from the Trails and Greenways Committee is included on there as well. I want to make sure somebody from the Trails and Greenways Committee is representative on the ad hoc committee too, and I've had a volunteer, so we can take that offline too.
I think Dick was.
I would be more than happy to
All right.
be on it.
Okay.
So we have 2 park board members then?
Three.
3.
Paula, Susan, and Dick.
Okay.
But
Myself.
mine will be,
So who do we have on it? Dick, Paula, and,
Susan possibly, and myself.
okay.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the second part.
Hey, where'd everybody go?
Fishing?
Moving on to the second part of the principal Riverwalk rules and ordinances. We would still like to move forward on accepting those, and Ron's going to make some comments for us.
Just basically, he's going to refresh your memory on the non-fishing rules, and remember, it's important, it's our first year of the Riverwalk, so some of these rules are already in the code. We want to make sure that you knew that, and we're going to post some signage along the Riverwalk this year that will help with some of these issues we are working on.
Chair Nolan, members of the Park and Recreation Board, Ron Ward, Park Manager. And as we talked about last month, these were the rules that we had come up with, working with the Downtown Community Alliance, with the Riverwalk Development Authority, and then doing some research on what some other cities that have Riverwalks have. And so these are our proposed rules, and of course the second one then, it would be excluding that for right now until we have the committee together and decide what we're going to do about fishing. The second one reads as fishing is allowed only in designated areas, and we don't know what those areas are right now. So right now it's everywhere. So is there any question? Yeah, go ahead.
I just was curious, the service dog must be under control. I don't understand.
The reason we put that wording in is because some service dogs aren't on a leash, but they need to be under control, and that's part of them being a service dog.
I guess my definition of a service dog was either leashed or by handle.
Yeah, so it's not a leash, and I think there's even some service dogs that they don't even have a leash on them.
Okay.
I have just a question. It said, wading or swimming in the Des Moines River or water features is not allowed. Water features?
There's some fountain, there's like the Hanson Triangle.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah, because water features to me says pool or wading park or not fountain, yeah.
Are there any other questions for Ron?
Yeah, well, I want to specific to that wading. Now, the fishermen said that they wade in there to fish, and I see them in there waiting like at Scott Street, waiting out there. Is that wading, talk to me about that. Does that include fishermen, or?
This is for the Riverwalk, remember, so we're between 2 dams, and so it's a risk management issue. They're talking about below a dam by Scott Street. You don't usually wade above a dam.
Okay.
Also, I think there is some state law that covers that too, as far as those exceptions, because we don't have jurisdiction.
It's a current ordinance.
There, thank you. I know that we had to go to council for a special exception because when Hy-Vee had their triathlon for the professionals in the river for the swim, we had to do some special precautions and get some special approvals. But ideally, we don't want to have anybody that's not between those two dams. It's for risk management purposes.
And as I said last month, everything on there those are all current ordinances. You know, of course, we take out number 2 on there, except the new one was about the skateboarding, to try to keep the skateboarders off of the features down there. That's the only one that's new, that's not backed up by a current city ordinance.
I had a question. I didn't realize that commercial photography, so they have to come and get a permit from you to do
Absolutely.
weddings? Because they do wedding pictures and things like that all the time on the Red Bridge.
You know what, that happens a lot. So we don't charge for it, but we want them to come down and tell us. Because if you've booked it for say you're doing a nonprofit walk, and then George books it to do a commercial photography on the Red Bridge, you have a conflicting use. So we want to be able just to know so we can help communicate conflicts, potentials. Yep.
So my son-in-law just has to come in and ask for a permit?
If they're doing commercial photography, selling photography, if it's just recreational for your own use, you don't come in.
But I mean, if she's doing, like he does it for DSM and
Yep.
business record, then he has to pay for a permit?
The permit is free. We just want to know about it so we can help tell them, if they wanted to shoot, like, again, the Red Bridge, we can say, you probably would better wait today and do it on Saturday instead because there's a big walk today. So it's just all about communication.
So can you get a permit for a year?
Per time, you need to do that.
Why not for a year?
Just because it's hard for me to tell them what's going on. So I don't know, like, if there's a walk that books now, and I get one for the year, and there's 3 more walks that get booked in that year, he might think it's okay to go set up with the big lights and all the photography commercial needs they have. So we want to be able to communicate is all.
Then that doesn't go for weddings like on Papa John, does it? I mean, if you have a wedding photographer?
There's rules we educate the public on. That's a good twist. Again, not the Riverwalk here, but at the Sculpture Gardens, the art has licensing that goes with it. So we have to then educate them on the second phase of rules. Again, we don't charge for this information. We just say, hey, make sure that you're not using this artwork without the artist's approval.
Yeah.
So that's phase 2 of that. But yes, we do have a permit for that facility too.
When people go to.
Are we making a motion on this, Sue?
Yes, we are.
I think this looks very good, and you've done a great job on this, and I would make a motion that we approve as written with bullet number 2 out.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Rebecca, would you call the roll, please?
Nolan.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Club.
Yes.
Acto.
Yes.
Kenny Vanderhaar.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Scavo.
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
Feltner.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Thank you. We have a unanimous vote. Moving on to item B.
It's a long time coming. All right, item B. There's no new information that there was last time. It's just your annual adoption of our pool opening and closing. So if you have questions, we'll be glad to entertain those. And hopefully with the weather will turn, we can all start thinking about pool weather.
And if no questions, I'd have a motion.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Rebecca, would you call the roll, please?
Nolan.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Club.
Yes.
Acto.
Yes.
Kenny Vanderhaar.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Scavo.
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
Feltner.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Boson.
I have just one comment about this. As I was reading through this, and this is just a teacher thing, but the English as it was written was correct. It especially, where it said temperature of 70 degrees or less and 10 or fewer people. That's how it should be written, and I was so glad to see that it was done correctly by our.
Was Marlene ad out there? She left. All right.
Oh,
She'd be glad to hear that. She's our clearinghouse.
good.
Okay, moving on to item C, the Woodland flag retirement.
Backed by a popular demand, the flag retirement ceremony is again being requested of you. Again, because of ordinance, we have to get your approval to have a non-funeral type event in a cemetery. We did this last year, if you remember, and we had an overwhelming response to it. So this group has come back. The Cemetery Advisory Committee has recommended this for approval, and now it's up to you tonight if you wouldn't mind moving this forward.
Do I have a motion for approval?
So
I
moved.
move.
Second.
Rebecca, would you call the roll, please?
Nolan.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Club.
Yes.
Acto.
Yes.
Kenny Vanderhaar.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Scavo.
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
Feltner.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Thank you. And it is a very moving ceremony, so if you have a chance to go to it, I mean, it's quite the event.
Will this cover all of the flags? Because they were so overwhelmed the last time.
They keep coming.
They keep coming.
Wow.
It's a great thing, and we're trying to have a little bit of a donation piece to it. We're not charging for it, but if they want to make a donation, we can put that towards a cemetery project of some sort, so,
It's a good idea.
yeah.
That's the
Okay,
only way
moving back to the director's report.
Great. Just before we begin the director's report, there's one thing I did want to follow up with the board members now the public comment piece is over, is that I really believe that Jen Fletcher did a great job working with the media last week on the fishing ordinances. There was the one gentleman that didn't have that feeling, but I want you to know, I was out of the office, and I thought she handled it great. So she had a lot going on while I was gone, did a wonderful job on a tough situation that was moving well into the weekend, so I just feel like we need to stick up for our team here a little bit, and she did a great job. First up, did you know Union Park, Kirk Robinson? You don't get to see Kirk very often, but Kirk Robinson, for those that don't know Kirk, he runs our building operation and heavy equipment. And so we all take a turn. All the group gets to get 2 or 3 of these, and he has Union Park.
Chair Nolan, members of the board, Kirk Robinson, Buildings and Parks Maintenance Manager. I do have the opportunity to do the Did You Know on Union Park.
Kirk, you might want to hit that icon here so it makes it the big picture. John's coming up for you.
Oh.
John, down at the bottom of the red there by that sliding scale plus and minus, that first icon next to the minus in the red.
Maybe you know Kirk. Yeah. Sorry, I just...
There you go.
Thanks, John.
Okay, Union Park was established in 1892 as one of Des Moines' first parks. Originally, it was 2 plats of land that was sold and put together as the original Union Park by 2 different landholders. It is commonly known as the Thompson's Bend. As you come around the river there at the Berlin Marina, you can see that big bend as it heads down into downtown and gives you that beautiful view there. As the river travelers used to come into town, that's what they'd see on that first bend. Union Park, some of the original amenities included an aviary, a pavilion, a stone fountain, and a greenhouse. As you can see in the pictures below, the CCC Corps built one of the original shelters in Union Park, and right next to it used to be one of the original wading pools. It was taken out and replaced with a new splash pad in 2005. As you can see here, the original 27-acre purchase has encompassed to take over 51 acres of land, to including all the amenities that you see there. It is a very popular park with the carousel and the rocket slide. It is visited by a great amount of people. The Union Park entrance, you can see there on the left, was an original postcard of the entrance with the restored, and then the right picture is the restored entrance to the park in 2012. That was restored in part by the Parks Departments, the Union Park Neighborhood Association, and the Friends of Des Moines Parks. The Union Park Heritage Carousel. It was a nonprofit Des Moines Heritage Carousel Foundation initiated by Buzz Brenton. He proposed the venue there at the top of the hill that kind of overlooks the river there. Very beautiful place with the oaks standing there next to it. The city isn't in agreement with the foundation to help operate that carousel. Children can ride for 50 cents a piece, and the adults are $1 a piece. There's approximately 45,000 riders throughout the year. Okay, as you can see, the rocket slide there that was installed really at the height of the space generation in the 1970s and was refurbished in 2011. We basically took that slide down to bare metal, repainted it to some of the original colors, put in a soft, what do you call that? Yeah, the soft surface to help with the kids, and it's another huge attraction for that park. And Ruth Perry was the founder of the Union Park Garden Club for the park. That is all I have. If you have any questions.
I've got a question. Do you know where in Union Park the Thompson Homestead used to be?
I do not. We have Marlene's dog. Marlene is our historian, but I believe it was on the south. It would be the southwest corner, right there on the bend where the river bends. Right there was the original Thompson, and I believe in the late 50s, some of the clippings that I was reading, in the late 50s, they were originally going to make that into a museum, and the city had decided to tear it down rather than make it into a museum. So,
Thank you, Kurt.
okay, thank you.
Next up, we have the very popular Earth Day Trash Bash. We have Callie and Julie here today, so I'll have them come up and give you a little overview. Quite the progress and evolution on this program you're about to hear.
Chair Nolan, members of the Park and Recreation Board, Julie Hempel, Horticulture Inspector.
Callie Portright, Parks and Recreation Supervisor. Earth Day Trash Bash is Iowa's, largest volunteer event. It started years ago, but was formalized in 2008 to the name of Earth Day Trash Bash. What started off as a few hundred volunteers giving a couple hours in the afternoon in 2008 has gone to over 1,400 registered volunteers in 2013, removing around 67,000 pounds of litter, tires, debris, brush, and recyclables. Here you see how the value in orange has increased over the years.
Earth Day Trash Bash is a significant day for many individuals and corporations. It began with a few committed individuals cleaning up litter, and today has evolved into a collaborative project between cities and citizens of Des Moines, West Des Moines, Clive, Metro Waste Authority, Polk County Conservation, Ingersoll Business District, Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation, Polk Soil and Water Conservation District, and Waterworks.
Last year, we had around 80 project locations throughout the greater Des Moines metro, removing litter and beautifying our public lands, cleaning out invasive species, all in an effort to improve Iowa's water quality and clean up our waterways. Earth Day Trash Bash went from an event in 2008 valued around $17,000 to last year's valued around $145,000.
This year we have 60 site locations to fill and need 1,200 volunteers throughout the metro. Similar to past years, we need citizens, companies, neighborhoods, and friends to pick a team captain and register their team on our new website, earthday.dmgov.org. A special tribute to Earth Day Trash Bash falling on Arbor Day this year. Our theme is Free the Trees. The majority of our projects will be related to the health of our woodlands, education on emerald ash borer, and other tree-related projects, in addition to our beautification and litter removal projects.
On Friday, April 25th, Earth Day will kick off with a bash downtown at Capitol Square, including sponsor and volunteer recognition and educational booths. The rally builds a sense of community and cohesiveness to the day's activities and is an opportunity to recognize the thousands of hours the volunteers will donate in that day.
We have to thank again Big City Burgers and Greens. That's Iowa's first fully compostable restaurant for lunch. Here's a picture from last year's trash after thousands of volunteers ate at our kickoff lunch. On the left is what we composted, in the middle was the recycling, and that black bag on the right was what went into the landfill, and we're very proud of that. After the kickoff bash and lunch, teams Team captains will lead their volunteers out to their project locations for an afternoon of giving back to the community.
What day is that,
The last Friday in April, April 25th.
the volunteer appreciation?
It's all in one day.
All in one day, and that's April?
April 25th, with a rain date of Monday, the 28th.
25th.
While each year we try to reuse tools and supplies as participation increases, we need more sponsorship dollars. So sponsors help provide a kickoff bash, volunteer recognition, and continued support for the program, such as dumpsters, portable restrooms, gloves, trash bags, and other tools and supplies to beautify our community. This year we have almost $30,000 in sponsorships already, both in-kind and cash donations. And with the added value of the volunteer time, our value of our event could be over $120,000 for the one day of volunteering. Our 4 largest donors that we'd like to thank that are diamond sponsors that have to give $3,000 or above are the City of Des Moines, Waste Management, Big City Burgers and Greens, and the Principal Financial Group.
Our platinum sponsors, which is a sponsorship of $1,000 to $2,999, include Wells Fargo, Come and Go, ING, Metro Waste Authority, iCubs, Friends of Des Moines Parks, Polk County Conservation, Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation, Ernest & Young, Cargill, Des Moines Waterworks, Mid-American Energy, and C Corporation.
Chair Nolan, members of the Park Board, we look forward to your support of Earth Day Trash Bash and participation in Iowa's largest volunteer Earth Day event. We hope to see you all out there. Again, the website is earthday.dmgov.org. I believe your team is already registered. Thank you.
I registered us as a team, as well as the Friends of Des Moines Parks Board, and hopefully I can convince you to convince the council members that appointed you to this board to join us. 1 o'clock, the parking lot right across the street from Mullet's. We're going to walk the new South Des Moines Trail, and I've got it set up so in case you need to leave within an hour, or you can spend 3 hours, but if you need to leave an hour, we can get you back to your car on a ride. So 1 o'clock, the parking lot just across the street to the east of Mullet's, meet there. Wear clothes that can get a little dirty. We'll get you some gloves. We're just going to pick up trash and walk the trail.
I would have to say, Ben, that they do get a free lunch, so they are welcome to come to Nolan Plaza, or that would actually be Capitol Square, for a free lunch first.
That's a good point.
If I'm eating, you better get another sponsor.
And what Davis Concessions is adding as a sponsor?
Oh, yeah. Hey, you know what's interesting, in both presentations, in this one, we saw trash and everybody was cheering. And the last one, during the fish presentation, we saw trash and everyone was booing, so I guess everything's relevant.
I have a question. What time does it start?
The lunch starts at 11:30. The volunteer events start in between 1 to 1:30, depending on when you get out to your project locations.
Okay, I have a question. Do you ever contact schools, or do schools ever have groups?
Yes, we have the downtown school has participated, Central Campus.
Cal's Montessori.
We've been really trying to get Lincoln High School involved since they have an environmental education program and they're right next door to McCray Park. We fully welcome children. And we actually, this year, we have 200 students from McCombs coming to clean out the area along County Line Road.
So if you had a class that would want to do that?
Yes.
You just go to Earth Day and just register?
Register, yep, they can register their class.
And we have a waiver for anyone under 18 that is also on that website that you can download so you can send to the parents.
Could I suggest that somehow we have the names and, I guess, contact information of the people who came tonight, that an invitation be extended to them to participate in Trash Bash? Might be the start of a partnership on cleaning up the rivers, the areas along the trail.
We'll send them a note about the program.
I think that would be a good idea. And also, Carl, I'll talk to Carl Boss about the bikers, and you're on the trail committee, and let's try to get all kinds of people out too.
And we will have volunteers out on the Riverwalk cleaning up trash.
Great.
Any other questions?
Very good presentation.
Thank you, Kelly and Julie. Great.
Thanks.
Next, we have a brief overview of how our new location for our father-daughter dance went. After many years of the zoo, we were able to reinvent the program and put some new energy into it. Jen.
It has nothing to do with garbage, George, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm not much of a draw. But Jen Fletcher, Marketing Supervisor, Chair Nolan, members of the Park and Recreation Board, here to speak with you regarding this year's father-daughter dance. Oops. Okay, I'm not restored. Why is this showing? Sorry.
John?
John? Can I have a geek squad here for a second? Wait.
So far, this has been a good report.
It's, well, I want you really to understand what I'm going to say. I'm arrowing. Yeah. This is weird.
Try the mouse.
Can you escape out of it and come back into it?
Chrome, oh, John did come over.
Okay. It's frozen. So,
Try now.
how's everyone?
Jen, I want to echo Ben's remarks to you earlier. I mean, thank you for last week. It was a chaotic week, and I think we all managed to get through it very nicely. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It was it's part of the gig. It was definitely a challenge, but
thank you.
You know, you're welcome. It was my pleasure.
It's locked up. Well, why don't we just give an oral summary then? You had some
Okay.
great pictures probably, but
I did.
Or do you want to defer till next time?
we can.
Okay, well, I'll just wing this. First and foremost, the event moved to a new venue at the Iowa Event Center. It was a centralized location. It was downtown, and it was very well received. Also brought people downtown, made an economic impact. People could get meals. It went very well. So we consolidated the event from 3 nights before into 1 night. The event was held on February 14th on Valentine's Day. It was streamlined promotion for us because we only had to promote for 1 night. So, oh, there, I'm back. Okay.
We'll call Matt from now on.
Okay, so we covered, there's some pictures of the event, the venue before it was all set up. It was a much bigger space than we were at in the zoo. Because again, we went from 3 nights to 1, so we needed bigger accommodations. Touched on that again, went from 3 nights to 1. All right. So this year we also sold tickets online using our active registration program. It was a much improved user experience because no one had to physically come to our office. They could just go to the website, order their tickets, and go. We sold 679 tickets.
How does that compare?
It was went down from 750 last year, and that was just because, again, we wanted to make sure we had room for everybody in the venue. So next year, we're looking at a bigger space, and we can accommodate more people. And again, this being the first year, I just wanted to be more conservative. No, that's fine.
Does 679 include fathers and daughters?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I can give you the breakdown of the couple versus the additional daughter. I just don't have that with me. So.
Wow.
So again, a few more activities we added at the event center this year. So one of the first ones we included were red carpet photos. And then we wanted to give the little girls an experience of being on the red carpet. We had velvet ropes and the step and repeat background. This was kind of a win-win for the attendees because they were free pictures and it drove traffic to our Facebook and website where they could download them for free. We had a photo booth that was on the inside of the event. It was a really cool thing that once it was a takeaway, it had the event date and logo on it, so that once they got in there and did their fun little photos, they had something they could take home with them. We got really good feedback from that event, amenity, and we're maybe looking at adding a second one next year. So, I have a visual aid. And no, I'm not going to put this on. But this was the Create-A Crown, and the guests got to kind of decorate their own crown. They could add little jewels, they could add their name, they could say, I love parks, whatever they wanted to do. But it was a really fun little thing, and you can see the girls wore them, and we even had some of the dads wear them for the rest of the night. So it was kind of, again, a fun little souvenir, and it just added to the evening. Another craft we had was the design a magic wand. And these are really simple little things that, again, we just wanted to make sure that we had other things to do besides dancing, much like at the zoo. They had the exhibit to walk through, so we had these other little deals. But it was very simple craft. You could just take a marker and scratch off the color, and this one's mine. So. Well, So, as the saying goes, the more things change, the more they stay the same. There were some amenities that we just couldn't get rid of or change or do away with for the father-daughter dance. The first and foremost being the chocolate fountain. So that is a staple, and we got lots of compliments on the quality of the chocolate versus what we've done in previous years. So as long as we're doing this event, the chocolate fountain will stay. We had great partners. Thanks to Friends of Des Moines Parks for their sponsorship of the event. Also, Bows and Florists donated carnations for all the guests to take home with them, and they were free, and they loved having a little flower to take home with them at the end of the night. We had great volunteers. Thanks to Callie and her team for helping us recruit helpers for the event. We couldn't have done it without them. We had volunteers at check-in, and at the different craft tables. The most important thing, though, about this event is it was an evening full of magic and memories for the fathers and their daughters. And that's one thing, again, that won't change from however it is, as long as we're doing it right. So this is just a few of the pictures of the 700 pictures we have from the evening. And again, this is why we do this. So cute. Yeah. It was really hard to narrow down which ones to pick, so probably why my presentation took me a little longer than I should have. But so we ask everybody to make plans to join us next February 2015, again at the Iowa Event Center, and stay tuned for dates and details. So any questions?
Jeff, you must have some comments about your evening.
It's the 9th year in a row of attending. It was different just because it's a different location, but it was still a great event. My daughter will be in 8th grade next year, and she still looks forward to this every year, like when she was in 2nd grade. So, first grade. So yeah, it's a great event.
Great.
I think the award that night goes to the gentleman, which I don't know his name, that had 5 daughters by himself, all the same dresses. And the poor man never left the dance floor for a break. So it was a cute thing to see.
Thanks, Jen.
Nice job.
Our last report for you will be a quick one. It's just we wanted to make sure you're all aware of a new amenity we have at our community center that's been a hit. And John Hager, who manages our community centers, will give you a little update.
Oh, you got it? I'm trying. Okay, Chair Nolan, members of the Park and Recreation Board, John Hagan, our Park and Recreation Superintendent. While Matt queues up I've got about 42 slides to show you. We just wanted to share with you really 3 slides of a new amenity we've recently installed and implemented at the Pioneer Columbus Community Center West Gymnasium. You know what, Rebecca, if you can queue up, I've got it overhead if you're able to queue that one up. If you haven't seen it, but basically it's called a traverse climbing wall. And that is indeed the picture of in our West Gym. It's essentially 20 feet wide, 10 feet tall, if you will. It has 125-foot footholds, and you're never more than a few feet off the ground. You can see we've got the mat there. The great thing about this also has the interchangeable handles, if you will. So we can change the handles. You can see there's red, green, and yellow, so we can change the handles. We can make obstacle courses out of these. We can attach some different balls. We can attach different tubes, if you will, and make an obstacle course out of it. So perhaps the best takeaway, if you will, from just sharing you, obviously, that we have this new amenity is last year, 2013, we had over 111,000 visitors at Pioneer Columbus Community Center. So as our need and demand increases to keep these folks active and busy and entertained with positive activities, we also want to give value to it. So this is just one example of lots of a way to add value. Many of you have maybe heard of our Imagination Play School program. It's designed for preschoolers in the morning, Wednesdays and Friday. But the week before spring break, we had 50 kids, just 50 kids alone, not counting their parents, participate in the the traverse climbing wall, the big wheels, the roller coasters, the park setting that we set up. So this is just, the traverse climbing wall is just one way to just enhance that, if you will. And just the last slide just represents that it's for all ages. It's probably one of our most skilled climbers we've got up there. He was a recent graduate, I think, from the George Davis rock climbing wall school. So, no, it is just me. So, certainly, if you're in the area, you want to stop by and check it out. The West Gym, the Traverse Climbing Wall at Pioneer Columbus. So, happy to field any questions.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, Matt.
That's good.
It's harder than it looks.
Does anyone else have anything? I do thank you for your patience this evening. I know it was a long meeting, but a very informative evening. And I do want you to think about Earth Day Trash Bash. Put that on your calendar and try and make it for a short period of time if you can. And I will be looking for a nominating committee next month, so be thinking about if you can serve on the nominating committee or if you want to roll on the executive or committee or something. So think about that for the month to come.
And I just have one quick question. Is there such a thing as a community calendar so that we don't bump up against other events when we're doing things? There used to be, I think, a long time ago, where Symphony or different nonprofits in town put together when they were having an event so that we don't have, and I don't know that we ever do, but so that we wouldn't collide with other, oh, hello, Jan. So that we wouldn't collide with other events going on in town.
Chair Nolan, member of the Park and Recreation Board. There are so many calendars in existence. I can tell you that for our events alone, we post on the Register, the Catch Des Moines, Downtown Des Moines, all of that. So to find one consolidated place where it's very difficult. Now, when we're planning things, we do check these other calendars to see if there are major things going on for our stuff. If that's at all helpful.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
This was when we were smaller. And
I was
now
concerned
know.
about Trash Bash being on Big Relays
Big
Weekend
relay.
and wondering how that would impact your volunteers.
Well, and if Earth Day's Earth Day, you can't change
Yeah.
that. Earth Day got here first. So-
It's on Arbor Day this year, because Earth Day is the 22nd.
Okay.
If that helps.
Just wondering.
Okay.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I think I can make that.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vince.